the president's tweets? Are they?
I love them.
Care to elaborate further?
Yeah, they're fun reading. I wake up in the morning and see he gets up earlier than I do, so I'm able then to see what his tweet of the day is.
No tweets today yet. Joining us now, member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and ranking member of the subcommittee on the CIA, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. Thanks very much for being on the show. Given what we read yesterday, what are you most interested in hearing today?
I want to see some of this testimony in context. You know, missing from James Comey's testimony yesterday was when Sally Yates told Don McCann that Michael Flynn potentially could be compromised. Of course, that came just before James Comey met with the president, and the president asked James Comey to make the Michael Flynn case go away. Also, I think it would be important to have more context around once the president starts asking Director Comey to have cases go away and to make the Russia clouds be lifted. What were the conversations that James Comey were having with other members of the Department of Justice? Because what it looks like is that James Comey wasn't doing what the president wanted him to do, and that's why he was fired. Good
segue to David Ignatius, who has some questions for you. David?
Congressman, so much of this swirls around the firing of General Flynn as National Security Advisor. Your committee has subpoenaed General Flynn and records of his company before the inauguration. What are some of the questions that you'd like to ask General Flynn if he appears before your committee?
Sure. I would like to establish that General Flynn had knowledge that Russia Today is, in fact, an arm of Russia's intelligence service. Also, to acknowledge that General Flynn was aware of how Russia recruits individuals in the U.S. to be witting agents or unwitting agents on behalf of Russia. Also, to just really tighten up the timeline as to when General Flynn was in contact with the Russian ambassador during the campaign and then during the transition period. I think that would be very important and illuminating.
Congressman, it's Willie Geist. Good to see you this morning. You've said in the last 24 hours that after you read through Comey's statement that the president's behavior and his conduct in his interactions with the former FBI director were, quote, inappropriate. I think most people would agree with you on that, even conservatives, Republicans who've defended Donald Trump. But I guess the bigger question is there an underlying obstruction of justice? Is there something bigger to be pursued here, or was it just inappropriate behavior by the president?
Well, Willie, I miss being in the courtroom and working as a prosecutor, so I guess I'll leave that question to prosecutors, and they're going to have to probe to see if there's other corroborating evidence. And I think hearing from Admiral Rogers and Director Coates would probably help to build that case, and so far they don't seem to want to say anything publicly. From our perspective on the House Intelligence Committee, we want to tell the American people how we were so vulnerable to be hacked by the Russians, whether any U.S. persons were involved, and how we can make sure it doesn't happen again. So we certainly have a story to tell the American people, and we want to understand, whether the president was obstructive because he was trying to cover up behavior by people on his team.
But as a former prosecutor, everything you've read, everything you've understood, everything you've heard on Capitol Hill and the statement you've read yesterday, do you see a crime here, or do you just see inappropriate behavior from the president?
Again, I'll leave that to prosecutors, but Willie, a single witness can prove any element of a crime. So, the director pointed out in his testimony that he felt that because he was the only witness, he couldn't go any further. Actually, you only need one witness if a jury were to find them credible. Also, there is probably other corroborating evidence to pursue and to develop and test in this case. And then finally, a prosecutor would look at intent, and certainly there are questions about the president on 2 occasions trying to meet privately with the FBI director and asking people to leave the room. That shows strong intent.
Yeah. Congressman, this is just another day in the life of the Trump administration. There are multiple events, sometimes on one day as opposed to another, and there seems to be a level of exhaustion about the Trump administration, both within the Congress, within the media, and certainly out in the country. So my simple question to you is, do you think Donald Trump is fit to be President of the United States?
No, and I think the cost of this chaos, the cost of his alleged ties to Russia, the cost of his disrupting honest investigations has paralyzed this town, and we are not able to do the work on behalf of the American people to help put food on their table, a roof over their head, and give opportunity to their children. And so, no, I do not think he is fit.
Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.